Trying to give you some glory and you took it away.
Hold on, I'll get it back. George. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna let that. All right.
Can you see my screen officially?
I can.
Yes.
All right.
Well, welcome everyone. We're excited to have you here today on this lovely Tuesday morning. So we're gonna go over First, and basically we saw a huge push for this from Remax International. So we wanted to do a deeper dive on First and just see if it really is everything that, you know, it's chalked up to be. So we can dive right into what exactly that is. So basically our objectives of today are to help you guys have a better understanding of what First is and the value and purpose of it, develop a better understanding of how to use First, and then how you can properly incorporate that into your business to get the most value out of it.
What is it?
First, well, you're gonna find out. All right, so like we always do for every one of our meetings is just kind of make you aware of what goals you want to set and the value behind using this app for these goals, especially if you're trying to capture more listings, contact your clients more, all of that kind of fun stuff. Oh. And all right, so what is First? Great question, Miss Pat. So First helps agents win business by focusing on the right people at the right time, and it creates a more strategic approach with your current network opposed to just reaching out to everyone or sending out mass emails. It also helps you focus more on connecting with your current database instead of focusing more on gaining more clients. So basically what First is it's an app on your phone, and it takes all of your contacts right from your phone for you, and it imports them into the app. And I believe if we go to the next slide, we might have, nope, okay. We don't have pictures quite yet, but so it imports all of your contacts into this app that are already in your phone for you, and it's basically going to rank them on a scale of who is most likely to sell their home. So with that, First has developed a system to determine who is more likely to sell their home within your contacts and network that you already have. So this is really goes hand in hand with the Remax model of nurturing your sphere, using who you already have worked with or are friends with, or clients who maybe you haven't reached out to recently. And so what it does is once it has these contacts from your phone into the app, it then takes I forgot about this timer. George, I'm gonna need you to start walking up and down the hall for me. So if I'm in the dark, I'm sorry. The office I'm in is on an automatic timer. But anyways, so it takes your contacts and it imports them into this app and then runs it against 700 different property related data points. So it might be public records, it might be what people are clicking on Facebook. It's taking these people's names and their phone numbers and linking it to everything that they're basically doing, and then it's rating it on a scale of 1 to 3 how likely they are to sell their home. And so with that, it really is collecting everything that you would need to really determine who would be a number 3 star, meaning they're going to sell their home pretty soon, or who would be, you know, no stars and maybe they just bought a home. So with that, First makes it really easy to strategically target who would be most likely to sell, and then it helps manage your time, so you're reaching out to the people who it's really going to be most beneficial. So if you look at this screen, this is the different data points that they use. So they use over 700 different ones, and it tells you just about anything about people. It's a little scary, but it'll tell you, you know, they have 2 kids, they've owned their home for 6 years, they might own a dog, all the different types of stuff that they would need to know in order to determine if they're likely to list their home. Maybe they just had a 3rd kid and they're living in a 3-bedroom home. Eventually, they're going to probably need another one. So it really takes all this information and compiles it into your contacts to tell you who you should be reaching out to. All right, so how does it work? This is where it can get a little tricky, but so this is what it actually looks like in your phone. It is an app-only system, so you can sign up on your computer through Mac Center, but then it is gonna tell you to download the app. And the reason that they do that is because a lot of your connecting is gonna be through text messages or phone calls. And so having that right on your phone, right there, makes it super easy. So the goal is to connect with as many of your clients or friends, family that are already in your network and database as much as possible. So 3 stars is going to be people who are most likely to sell. And then you can see 0 stars, probably not likely to sell. So it's really helpful in the sense that it does all of the hard work for you. A lot of times I've heard of agents who, you know, organize their CRMs and they run it against public records, and, you know, they're putting all this time and work into really trying to determine who they should be reaching out to. But with First, it makes it super easy. So obviously you're going to want to start with people who are 3 stars and reaching out to them. So with each of your contacts that it imports, it kind of creates a little account for them. You can add notes in there. You can text them directly from this app with pre-written text messages that are already done for you. You can add, edit, delete any information that you feel is correct or incorrect that you would know of. And then you also have a part where it's your funnel. So in your funnel, you have 3 different sections, which is start contacts, inflow, and your hot list. So then it also allows you to categorize your contacts that you have been reaching out to. So your starred contacts are the ones that First has determined for you are going to sell within the next year. And then your inflow of contacts, you have put in this section yourself, and those are the ones that you're in contact with, or you feel that they're probably even more likely than your starred contacts. And then your hot list is going to be your either clients that you're working with or people that have come out and strictly told you, I am ready to sell my house, you know, within the next couple of months or anything like that. So it really helps organize everything as far as your reaching out and keeping in contact, as well as keeping documentation on everyone that you're speaking with.
2 things really quick, but before we continue. First, I think the texting feature is huge. I think we all know at this point that texts are opened at like an exponentially higher rate than emails. So that's part of why this has a ton of value. And second, I know this is a lot of information for everybody. So as we kind of always say, if you have questions, obviously we'll do some Q&A at the end, but the important thing is to set up some meetings with the digital marketing team to help walk through some of this stuff, because there are pieces to it. But once you kind of get it up and running, it really has a lot of value.
Absolutely. And then just adding on that, yeah, I've seen a lot of different systems out there as well that have done like the robocalling and the automated text messaging. And I mean, if I put myself into that category of being the client, I honestly don't. I mean, I read the messages that come through, but when it's like a 77777 number, I automatically just kind of am not paying attention. So with First, as you can see on the left side, I was trying to sell Yanni a house. But anyways, it automatically shows you what would I want to say, and you can easily click that in your phone and it opens right into your text messaging and automatically sets up that I was going to send Yanni that text message, and all I would have had to do is hit send.
I never got that text message, and I sold my house to somebody else now because of that.
Yeah,
So
I know.
a lot of competition for me to list with them, but next time.
So yeah, see, I missed out on that. That's a big thing with First, missing out on all those opportunities if you're not using it. So yeah, so it automatically, and there's choices, as you can see, you can scroll through multiple different choices, but then it also gives you the option, it just opens it, pulls up Yanni's contact, and then if I wanted to take out the last sentence real quick, I could, and you know, edit it any which way, but it just makes it so easy to keep in contact. And then back to what I was just saying about the random numbers, it's not a random number. It's coming directly from your phone. So it's sending messages from your number. So it's personal, and it's a great just extra added value of keeping in touch. You can call from it too. And like I said, same thing with the calling and the emailing. It just opens up your email or your phone immediately to that contact for you. And just is basically linking between your phone itself and the app of who you should be in contact with. So it makes it super easy to just, you know, every morning send 7 messages to, you know, 7 messages to 7 people, super quick, super easy, and you're keeping in contact in a more personable way than just through a CRM. All right, so another super beneficial part of First is setting the goals. So when you first download the app, it asks you, how many listings do you want to do this year? And so I didn't have a screenshot of that, but it does ask. And so I think I just put in the average, maybe 12 or 15, I don't remember. But it then takes your goals of how many listings you want to do per year, and it breaks it down to how many people you need to be in contact with every week in order to hit that goal. And so, like I said, I think mine was 12. So I would have to reach out to 7 people a week, which is so easy to do. But then it also logs your connections. So if I would have actually sent that message to Yanni, it would have said, yay, you sent a message. That's 1 out of 7 for this week that you reached out. And then it'll also ask, you know, how was it? Do you need to add any notes from this conversation? All that kind of stuff. So it really keeps you on track and helps you stay right where you need to be as far as reaching out in the most easiest way possible.
Right. And the accountability side of it, I'm sure Mr. John would totally agree. That's setting the goal and then keeping yourself accountable is really the key to success here.
Yeah, one of the things I'm noticing and taking notes on, this is a combination of a marketing plan and a business plan, you know, really focused toward what is most needed in a market like we've got. You know, listings in the state of Maryland are down 60% again, you know, that's our number, that's what we got. So listings are gold, we know that. This is not much more than a real handy division of your CRM into an A, B, and C list, you know, with your A's being the 3 stars, your B's being the ones you want to become A's, and the C's possibly even delete it. I don't even know. If there's no feedback on them, why clutter your list? But it also develops a strategy to suggest to you that this is the number that you need to outreach to, makes it easy to do that. And I can't see any reason not to make your life simpler in terms of digital marketing than this program. Strikes me as very, very potentially beneficial once you sign up, once you get your stuff in there, once you set an appointment with the digital marketing team to make sure you're doing it right. And then all week long, you're basically set up with your contacts for that week. I hate to oversimplify it, but that's it.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Thanks for all this work, guys.
We got 2 questions. Yeah, of course. Does it note the activity in the contact answered? So if they responded, is that marked in the application at all?
No. So it's not going to like track your text messaging or anything like that for you. You would just have to put in there, spoke with them. It will log the dates and everything like that for you when you enter that note, unless you're entering it, on a different day. But it'll log that you texted them, basically. It won't log the details, which I can honestly say I probably would prefer it that way, that there isn't an app kind of going into my text messaging and tracking that. But also with a phone call, you're not going to have that ability for them to know what was said. So no, they don't note the specific details, but they do note when you reached out and the text message that you had sent to them, which very easily could jog your memory of what was discussed if you don't end up adding any further notes. And then Maria sent me a question privately, but it's a great question. And she said, so if 1/4 of the contacts in your phone are real estate agents you have worked with, would it be able to import those? So that was the one thing that really blew my mind when I downloaded this app for myself. And so I have probably however many of you in the company in my phone. So they're all imported as contacts in my phone, and it logged all of you as real estate, and it took you out of it completely. So anybody who was a real estate agent, a coworker did not get taken out because they weren't flagged as agents. But anybody who was a real estate agent or someone who basically, I don't know how they really did, I don't know the logistics behind it, but they flagged all of those people and said, are these real estate agents? And it took them out. So I wasn't reaching out or having the agents in the mix. So that was a really nice feature that it automatically did that, because obviously I'm not going to be texting real estate agents saying, hey, do you want to sell your house with me?
Jeff Enzer asked a question too. I can't find the app in the App Store. Type in First.io, and it should be First space IO or First.io.
We're definitely going to get to at the end where we'll walk through the steps of this all together too, because I think, I can talk all day, but if we don't actually do any action points from these meetings, it makes it a little unbeneficial. And then, is there a feature that will allow the export of contacts to Booge? So that's a great question. So you can export your contacts from Booge or any CRM that you're using, and on your computer, you can upload that CSV file into First and have all those emails as your contacts as well. And it just really helps you to target people more precisely. And if you have their full name with the emails and their phone numbers, that's even better. It will help you have further detail and hit more of those 700 points that they run your information against. So yes, if you've already spent the time tagging and working on your CRM in Booge or even a different server, you can export that and import it right in just as easily as you can import any other CRM file.
And what about the other way around, from First to Booge? Cool.
Yep. So you can do either or. Yep. But then it also, like, I worked with an agent who's younger, and so he didn't have a lot of emails, but he had like 5,000 phone numbers. And so this was really beneficial to him because he's not going to send out an email CRM through as a text. But if he didn't have all those emails, he would have to go in and really spend a lot of time connecting emails with those phone numbers that he had. And so this made it really easy for him to be able to reach out, stay in contact with all of those people, and kind of not really need a CRM in a sense. Not that we're suggesting don't use CRMs, but for him and his sphere and what he was working on, this app really made sense for him to stay in contact with his client. All right, so logging your connections. So this is what we were just talking about, how to log the connections. And so you can see right there, it says, you know, texted Friday, April 16th. And so it does log the connections like we talked about, or emailed or anything like that. And then this is basically the profile of each person where you can add all that stuff. And then you can set goals per person too. Like, I want to reach out to them again in a week. You know, I want to continue to keep texting them or calling them. You can add social media if you want to add all of their different information for social media, or that you might have reached out on social media. That's a great way to start connecting with people as well. So yeah, you would have to add, like you see in the bottom right hand side, the description, or on the left you can add notes or anything like that. You would have to work, you know, on putting the exact details in, but it does log when the interactions occurred and what they were. So you can write. All right, and here's what Yanni was just asking as the CSV. So yes, you can do this part only on a computer, but you can upload your CSV right into here, and then you can also export if you wanted. So there is another way to download the app as well, which I know Jeff just asked. So if you went into First in your Mac Center account, it would also show you where to download the app. And I want to say that if you go into First and you start it through your computer, it'll text you the link to the app to download that. So it does a really good job with keeping, you know, all the information right there and readily available. I also think that the way that they designed this works really well for making it easy and convenient, and just a like 10-minute step to add to your day, to just be reaching out to a couple people. But yeah, so it does work for both Apple and Android phones. Here is what it looks like. I think I typed in First.io, but you can definitely type in First by Remax. I think if you just type First, it's probably not going to come up, but First.io or First by Remax. And then you can also sign up through your computer like we talked about. Oh, there goes the lights again. All right. Is that the last slide, I think?
Yep.
That was a lot of information, really, really, really fast. I'm really excited to start seeing people use this app, so I'm sorry if I talk too fast.
We can open it up to some questions, yeah.
Yeah, some questions, or if you guys want to walk through the steps, kind of getting in and doing it. I also want to talk about the price point of it. So it is free for the last time I did it, it was 90 days. It was supposed to switch to 60 days to get a push behind people to download it. I'm not sure at this point if it's still 90 days or 60 days, because once they were supposed to change it to 60 days, it was still at 90. So anyways, it is free for 60 or 90 days. I'm not sure. It'll tell you when you download the app. But with that, I always tell everyone it's free. Try it out and see if it has benefit to you and if it makes it easy to, stay in contact with people that you usually wouldn't be talking to. I see George is already downloading it.
Mr. Wayne, you had a question over there? No? Okay, I thought I saw. So I got a keen eye with hands going up. So if anybody's moving at all, I'm on it. I'm on it. Sharp on the movement. Loretta, she's doing some karate chopping. Miss Barbara's giving. Is this the peace or the be quiet sign? I don't know. I feel like it was. Okay, yeah.
This is the bathroom, right?
You're up. Go ahead, Barbara. Did you had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I downloaded this almost 2 years ago when it first came out, and I can contribute having 2 listings last year because of it. It's kind of pretty cool. I was getting notices of 4 stars. People were looking, my neighborhood is a retirement neighborhood, and people were looking for healthcare providers, assisted living. So I knew they were planning to move because we don't have that within the community. And they were very appreciative that I called to just check on them. And like I said, I got 2 listings directly from it. So it was well worth the money.
Yeah. That's awesome. And yeah, like it says, that's a great example of those 700 data points where it just sounds fancy, but it's really doing research in areas we wouldn't have thought of to research or wouldn't really have access to know that people were searching for health insurance or, retirement plans or anything like that. So it is really, really beneficial that it does the research on all these different platforms. Now, I wouldn't probably necessarily tell people that you found this information out. They might get a little
spooked,
freaked out by that. Yeah, I know I would definitely be a little worried if someone was like, I saw you searched health insurance. But
you probably did recently now that you have to get your own.
Right? That's why I paused, because I was like, oh gosh, that's where those text messages are coming from.
Mr. John had something too when you're finished.
Yeah, just a question. What is the post 60 or 90-day price point?
So there's 2 options. I believe it is $175 a quarter if you want to do it that way, or it is $465 for the whole year. So what I've been telling everybody is, I know the sticker shock price, it's like buying a new car, can be a little pricey for certain people. If you break it down, it's about $39 a month. I'm sure there's other things that, we've all paid for that amount. But I always say, try it for 60 days, put a notification in your calendar 2 days before, and just really start to think, was this worth, that price? Is it giving me value? Is it, something that I need to keep using? And then you get to make that decision based on your goals of what you need and how it's working with your sphere. I don't think there's ever a one app fits all type person. It's definitely, what works best for you and your business. So I always say, try it. It's free for 60 days and just remember to cancel it.
I think that's a great point too, though, what you're saying. So we don't want everybody to run and go download it and start using it. It does have to fit within the goals and the context of what your plans are. So that's where it comes back to meeting with John and understanding your plan, and meeting with Megan and myself to kind of put that into action marketing wise. Because otherwise you're going to be, there's shiny stuff that's put out all the time. We know that there's been public record type systems that analyze your contacts and everything like that. So yeah, making sure that it fits within your plans and goals is definitely a huge piece of it.
Another question I have besides Barbara, has anybody else on the screen been using this? And Barbara, thanks for the heads up. I didn't know this existed 2 years ago. My
Maria?
God. Yeah, my God. So, Maria, I think Maria's Maria.
I just have a question, because it's asking for like a username and password. So, but it doesn't say create a new one.
It's your Mac Center login, username and password. And
I
it's,
gotta say what that is,
you
because
ask
you know,
me-
things are automatically on your computer. You don't even remember, you know?
Yes, yes. So if you're using Google, there is a way to go into your settings and view your password.
Okay, that'd be good to know, because I have no idea.
Yeah, so if you are using Chrome, it is in the upper right-hand corner. If this is all you walk away from, it's a great thing to learn today. So
So in the
Google,
Remax Center, it will show me what my password is somewhere, you said.
in Google, yes. So if you are using
Oh,
Google,
the Google saving, I got you. All right, I know how to do that.
yep,
My
in the autosave for the passwords.
Okay.
And worst case, you can always reset. But that's a good point, Maria, because realtors have 10 billion different accounts to monitor. So having all of your, whether it's a note card or apps on the phone. I know some people in OC had a thumb drive with passwords and stuff like that. It's really crucial to have it all in the same place, or in some place. Mr. John's got his
It's all
spreadsheet.
all my passwords. Takes me an hour to read them.
Right.
I'm just spoiled. Everything's on my computer saved already.
Yeah, and then your computer breaks and you're just like, holy cow, what do I do? So it's definitely have a backup for it. Definitely have a backup for it.
You only use Mac. Then you have it on your phone, your computer, it's all synced.
That is not an approved statement from the digital marketing team, but you can use a Mac.
It's a good opinion, though. An opinion.
Yeah.
Mr. John, if we don't have any other questions, we could go into, did you have some stats you wanted to share?
Yeah, if folks want to hang on for a few more minutes, I can go through some numbers. Great job, guys. Thank you. What I did was I took a look at the first quarter, and from a Remax Advantage point of view, the company, RMA, with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 locations, in the first quarter of 2021, we were up in terms of total sold units by 20%. That's over last year. Now, remember that the first quarter was interrupted roughly halfway through last year with the advent of COVID. I think it was around February, late February, that we first started getting the signals of how difficult a period we were heading into. The critical months going ahead, I would say, are going to start to see, we're going to start to see how May, June, and July, and August, which were extremely strong months last year, compare. So I'm really interested in seeing what the next quarter into the third quarter looks like. I don't think the market will be as maddening as that. As a matter of fact, I attended a session with that was sponsored by Shirley Matlock, who is the president of HCAR, and she brought in Lawrence Young from NAR, and his prediction was that for Maryland as a whole, the appreciation that was at 12% last year, by the end of the year, appreciation is going to be closer to 6% in Maryland. So we're going to see some adjustment in those outrageous prices, and that's a good thing, right? We're still challenged by the inventory. As I look at the state as a whole, as I mentioned before, it's 60% lower in terms of what is active on the market. However, the pending settlements for the first quarter this year statewide are up 16% from what they were a year ago. So activity is really happening. Again, let's see what April looks like, May and June. In terms of our individual counties, I looked at Baltimore County in particular, and Baltimore County, not only were their units up 18% in the first quarter, but the average sales price in Baltimore County was up 33%. That's the highest number of all the counties. I don't know what's happening in Worcester, but Worcester total units year over year is up 48%. And the average sales price in Worcester is now $360. And that's up 27% from a year ago. When I checked with the stats for Ocean City, our Ocean City office, congratulations to you in Ocean City, it's up 60% year over year. Right? I don't have a year over year comparison for Seaford because we didn't get on board with Seaford and get their stats until roughly June of last year. Closer to home here on the western side, Carroll County, units are up 5%. The inventory is horrible, as you know. The average sales price is no longer in double digits. It's at 9% in Carroll County. So we're seeing a change in terms of appreciation there already through the first quarter. Howard County average sales price is now $508, and that is up 6%. All right. In other areas that we're active in, Anne Arundel County is fairly healthy, and Anne Arundel County is 13% higher in their average sales price. The median time on the market year over year was 30 days a year ago. It's 10 days now. So when it's listing, it's sold. You know. So if there was a vehicle to tie this into today's class, to try to upgrade and really zero in, all that this IO thing is, RE/MAX First, is RE/MAX has done the work on artificial intelligence with 700 different criteria, and they told you who's likely to be moving. So if I were an agent with 500 or 1,000 people, I'd try this out. I'd see who my 3-starred people were, and I'd be love bombing those people for the next 90 days to see whether or not you can move them to place you first of mind because you're taking the time to reach out. It's kind of simple, but like most things in our life, sometimes we avoid doing the simple stuff, you know. So it's about execution, guys. It's about execution.
Hey,
So those are
John,
the numbers I got. Any questions on numbers in particular? I can spend a couple of minutes fielding a question or two. You can unmute yourself and ask me the question.
John.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a couple points in regards to what you were talking about. I had an interesting conversation yesterday with Chris Carroll here in, got to remember where I'm at, Eldersburg. Sometimes I forget. He's sensing, and a couple other agents have said the same thing, they're starting to sense some buyer frustrations. They're refusing to bid anymore. They're backing away. Interestingly enough, early this morning, I met with a couple of my own clients that are basically saying the same thing, that they're not going to bid anymore. They're starting to back away and wait. And then the other thing to take in consideration, and we'll know some more information probably Thursday night, but if there's any kind of relaxation on these COVID regulations, you might see a few more sellers starting to pop up, because that's some of the reluctance on the seller side.
Yeah.
Is one of the issues is COVID.
If I'm a buyer right now, you know, and I'm a serious buyer, I'm getting tired a little bit of, you know, finishing 13th and 14th in a presentation, number one. Number two, I'm getting a little bit tired to know that I have to waive my financing contingency. I have to waive all my inspections. I've got to do this, that, and the other thing to get a house, you know. And there's a point where the buyer population says, if not now, later. And I think that that is something that we need to respect in some ways. It doesn't diminish the need to be in touch with those people, but it does give you the ability to empathize with their situation and to continue to be patient with them, right? It's a real time to connect and to say to the buyers, you know, a phrase from the 90s, I feel your pain, you know. And I think that's a value. I think that's a value to you, not only as a professional, but as a person, to do that with people that you're trying to relate to, because everything that we're doing here is based upon building relationships. And the relationships that you build best are those people that you are empathetic with, people that you obviously demonstrate your care for. So George, I think, it's spot on what Chris is saying, and I understand it.
Yeah.
And I understand it,
The
But
other
having a tool like this to boost up using potentially good artificial intelligence to boost up listing possibilities is going to be a boon to the market. So I recommend highly that you taste this thing for 60 to 90 days. And, $500 a year, I don't know. How many pizzas is that? I'm not sure.
What is that, 1/4 of a deal or something like that? So,
Yeah, in our market, at our commission points, it really is 10% of a deal. It's your marketing dollars of 10%. That's what it is.
I guess I'm getting really frustrated more so than my clients because I'm spoiled. I'm used to always winning, and when I see people paying 25,000 over and not getting it and not making the top 5 and offering to pay seller, Transrex and everything else and not getting it, it's like, it's frustrating for me because I'm accustomed to a certain month. I have clients and I'm accustomed to a certain monthly income. And it's like, okay, this is my 4th contract for these people and they're $800,000 buyers. Really? It's just frustrating. It's like, it's hard for me not to go into a depression because I'm used to when you're a RE/MAX agent, you're used to winning. And I'm just really frustrated.
And the other thing that I'm seeing here a little bit of is that instead of concentrating on the more populated areas, I'm seeing some people moving out further towards like Hampstead, Manchester, out here in Carroll County, where, believe it or not, you have houses that will be on the market for 5 to 8 days, which is unheard of. And the prices are still relatively low. For instance, a townhome at North Carroll Farms, you can still get a townhome there for $270,000. God forbid you got a townhome for under $300,000. Where does that happen? So you're seeing some things like that, or going out towards Frederick County, where they're outside of the township of Frederick itself, which is a DC, lifestyle out there, and you're seeing they're getting more house for their dollar out in the areas like that, and it's not quite as competitive. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's not quite as competitive.
Right. The other forecasted piece from Larry Young, because there were a lot of questions on that Zoom about interest rates and where are they going and whatnot. You guys are in the field more than I am. I understand that interest rates have now dipped just to about 3%, actually took a little bit of a dip. The expectation is 3.5 by the end of this year, which is still fabulous money. So if you combine the slight raise in interest rates with the lowered appreciation number that I mentioned before, I have a sense that may be a beginning of helping to better balance the market, but it remains to be seen. But for our purposes, Maria, you'll always be a winner. I don't know what to tell you. It is frustrating. It is frustrating. Particularly in certain price points. The most effective price point in the country is $250 to $500. That is the price point that is the tightest and the most difficult price point. So if you're dealing with clients at $3.25 or $350, there's multiples and multiples and multiples. And those are the people that are paying 10% more. They're paying $30,000 more for those houses.
And then you're filled with compassion because these people are just like, I've lost 2 sets of really good buyers to new construction that doesn't offer anything, the stupid Ryan ones that give you $3,000, and it's just frustrating. So
Maria, I think a lot of people feel your pain. I can certainly relate to what you're saying. I won't even go into all the nuts and bolts, believe me. But
I know Pam has had a hell of a time with people.
I think that I am also seeing a trend. I was on the phone with buyers yesterday, one in particular that's a pretty big buyer, who said to me, I think we're going to sell, but I think we're going to rent for 1 to 2 years. And we're going to hold off because we're not comfortable with that price point. We're not comfortable with paying that much over what we know is the value of the house. So I think a lot of buyers, and I had another one, George, I talked to you about Friday. She was very well qualified, very well qualified. The seller came back and asked for more, and we were the only offer on the table at the time, and the seller wanted still more. And my buyer said, nope, don't think so. Withdraw my offer.
Good for your buyer.
And
Good
I
for your
said,
buyer.
I told her, I said, I can't blame you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't blame you. And she's going to wait a little while and let things settle a little bit. So I think we're going to be seeing more of that.
Yeah. The challenge for sellers is, where am I going to go if I sell it now? There's no question about that. And even rentals, it's not like you want to move into a shack. You want to have a quality of life, and you have to be very prepared if you're going to sell and then rent. You want to be comfortable in that rental, and you don't want to spend your time moving and moving and moving, because that's what it means.
My client, I have another client who had a rental in Hampstead, wasn't sure if she was going to sell or rent. A friend of hers put the house on Facebook and said, this house is available for rent. She had over 2,000 inquiries within one day. So if that tells you anything.
Yeah. We all should have houses with English basements. We'd make a lot of money.
Hey, John.
Yo, Jerry.
Question. It's are you
Uh-oh.
hearing buyers getting hard money and paying cash for these properties that have a house to sell, and then when they sell the house, they refinance to be able to get the property?
I'm not hearing a lot of that, but I'm hearing more of it than I have. Yes. And what is hard money is really an outside investor. That's all it is.
Right. Well, they're paying a higher interest rate.
Oh, yeah, they're paying a higher interest rate for that. No question.
And hopefully they'll be able to, sell the property and then pay off that loan when they sell the property. But it's a risk factor there too.
It's a risk factor. It's a risk factor. It also smacks a little bit too much of desperation for my taste, but I'm more conservative when it comes to that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you heard many people doing that.
I haven't heard many, but I've heard more than I've had in years, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
You're also hearing you're hearing about some sellers that are willing to hold a note, which opens up a whole nother can of worms. As Terry down there rubbing his hands, I can see him thinking about that. You've got lenders that may have objections to some of that, but there are sellers out there offering to hold a note for the difference if it doesn't appraise and things of that nature.
Another thing that I'm seeing people doing is they're offering sellers free rent back. So there are creative ways to do it, and there are dumb creative ways to do it. So you got to be very, very selective in looking what fits for you. And in Pam's case and in Maria's case, for some of the buyers, they've said, no, this just does not fit for me now. And I'm not going to be a victim to having to do something that I really believe is wrong.
And I will never write an offer on a house that contingent on owner finding home of choice, because they're never going to find anything. And then your people waited all this time for a house and then they don't get it. It's really frustrating.
Wow. Yeah.
They're like, never mind, we don't want to move after all, and then you're screwed.
Right. I recently heard a quick story, and I'll end on this note. Folks I'm aware of, they finished, I don't know, second or third in a 12 competitive 12 offer market, and the ultimate winner gave the sellers, free rent back and offered free rent back. And the sellers, the next day after they got the house under contract, Facebook their friends saying that, yeah, we got somebody entirely on our own terms, and if we find the house in a year or so, we'll move. They actually undid their contract on Facebook by letting the buyer know that they had no intention of moving fast to buy the next house. That's just nuts. That's just nuts. I'd like to be that lawyer. Anyway,
All right. Well,
that's all I got, Jan. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. We appreciate everybody joining us here today. I hope people got value in it, and please reach out to Megan, and myself, just to make sure that you get everything you need. Thanks,
Yes,
everybody.
thanks, everyone.
Have a great
Thank you.
week.
Great class.
Take
Thanks,
good care.
John.
Be safe out there.
Later, y'all.